Welcome back to the Legend of Korra. So yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this the last time, but on Korra's room you can change her outfit to various outfits that she's had throughout the series.
I noticed instead of a 3D model, you have a PNG. Like again, that connects to what I wanted to say in the previous part. Connecting to what Jova mentioned about the different quality. This compares. The equivalence would be that this is the equivalent of a Disney direct-to-video sequel to its theatrical original counterpart. In this case, like a game like Metal Gear Rising.
I remember, this came out not too long after Bayonetta 2. Imagine comparing this to Bayonetta 2.
Hell, this game came out a year after Metal Gear Rising, so...
Again, I gotta get a year... Well, a year after The Wonderful 101.
Let me make
that
it clear.
too.
As far as I can recall, before this game, nobody imagined a Platinum game feeling this cheap. Like...
Java, have you ever played Infinite Space on Nintendo DS?
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, to be fair, that's a DS game, so the standards are different there, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, one DS game, and even still, that was before Platinum had cemented themselves to this level
I forgot the year it was released, but I think it was still like 2010 or something.
Check right now.
I don't even know, but whatever. The basic point is, yeah, because Iroh here won't give us our fucking help without some money.
I need some TDs, they're not cheap.
In between parts,
you're dead.
Yeah, in between parts, I did some grinding by repeating the first level so I could accumulate some money so I can get some good items.
So are you going to show off the different costumes and play in some of them?
That's the thing, Jova. The requirements for unlocking most of these outfits involve getting max ranks in the stage and shit like that. And to be perfectly honest, with this game, Jova, I can't really be bothered.
You couldn't even find a 100% complete save file. Interesting.
That's the thing too. That's the thing too. I tried finding a complete save file. There are none. Nobody bothered to 100% this thing.
But if I had to hazard a guess, one of those is the pro banding uniform.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, in case you're wondering, audience, this is one of those games that... Okay, it's not necessarily gonna be lost to time, but it's one of those cases where it was digital only, and ever since it kind of just ran out, never really resurfaced officially.
See, this isn't even a bad game technically. Like, by licensed game standards, this is perfectly fine. It's just that, you know, considering the people who made it, you know, it's kind of disappointing that it's just fine.
If I...
Cutscene. Yeah, you can also tell that the animation budget for the game was probably not the best either, because, yeah, the
Definitely. There are a few frames missing.
Oh, hey, Jinora.
Maybe they
Remember,
license they could throw it to
That, Shira, and probably rushed production.
That's also part of why I re-asked in the last part if we were absolutely certain that they had the same team working on the animation here. Don't get me wrong.
They did, Jova. In the credits,
by the end of book 2.
In the credits, Jova credits. I think their name is Titmouse. I think.
God,
yeah.
You guys just don't give up, do you?
Also, I don't mind. I still don't mind this. Sure, I guess there might be differences, but to me, they're not too much noticeable.
Okay, so according to Jinora, in order to recover our waterbending, we have to quote-unquote collect 4 jars of spirit water. Jova, maybe I'm forgetting, but was ever there something in any of the Avatar seasons where they talked about spirit water?
There was, but that... Okay. Here's the thing. That was special healing water that was used to save Aang from dying at the end of Book 2. Never was touching a spirit water that was tied to, you know, water bending itself.
Oh, goody, invisible water.
So basically, the writers are coming up... Again, you can tell. The writing is just an afterthought. Go on.
Yeah. I'm also going to give the writers credit. I do get the feeling that the way it went was... The game devs made this, and they said, okay, tether this to that, essentially.
Also, what was that joke from Spyro at Hero's Tale, where the professor doesn't even know what the collectibles are supposed to be? And he asks, Spyro, what are you supposed to collect? And he's like, random light gems? Good, go with that.
I like, they actually made Ian actually came up with a good joke regarding that in Sonic Frontiers, where Sage asks him, "What's your end goal?" It depends. Sometimes it's a spinning sign. Sometimes it's a big ring. So.
Very funny.
Yeah, no. I mean, no.
Why does he scream like that?
I guess that's one way to
what
go
is this,
out.
Ultra Kill now?
No, Tell. It's like in Mortal Kombat 3, where the characters do these amazing screams even after they completely are just bones. So...
you do give a good point, Pedro. Like, well, okay, if they really did have to go... For the sake of the game here, it would have been maybe nice if the game was a bit more tongue-in-cheek about how... Obviously, this is not how Avatar business usually goes, but hey, it's a game, so we gotta do it that way here and there. And like you said, it's not like it would have really have mucked with the canon too much in that regard.
I mean, considering how Korra as a character was not particularly liked already on her own, do you really think giving herself awareness would have improved?
Well, okay.
Oh, she would have been the main character for Spoken.
Please, no.
That's not.
To be fair to Korra, she was getting better character-wise pretty much after she died and came back as a different person, but I digress. She was getting better, so I don't think people would have had too much of an issue with that. Again, if only to just address the fact that at least have her say, this is not how I imagine this Avatar stuff works, because, yeah, this is not really how the Avatar stuff works. Me, personally, I argue I've already mentioned one of the ways I would have made this flow better with how the Avatar thing works. Also, I would have at least let her start off with one of the elements at the start of the game, but nope, apparently all her elements are blocked. Yet, I'll give Korra this, she is handling this way better than she did at, the end of Book 1, where she only had one element left and was considering killing herself, but no, here it's I lost my elements? Whatever. And she still proceeds to kick these guys' butts to the point that she sends them flying. Shoot, maybe it really was just about a self-confidence.
Apparently.
There we go. Also, I love how she says that line. I can feel my energy coming back.
Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Hold on. Actually, it's me who's talking. Never mind. Jova's right. I just checked. Titmouse did the opening sequence of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they did the animated scenes for this game. But that's it. The actual animation for the Korra show was for the first season. It was what was it? Studio Mir, and after that it was Pierrot. I think it's a French word. So Pierrot.
That's a Japanese studio, if I recall
correctly. Yeah, so basically, technically, Titmouse does have Avatar experience before this game, because they did the animated opening for Last Airbender, the show, not the movie. But yeah, that being said, no, Titmouse has done plenty of good stuff, so it's not like it's their fault. I blame this more on the rush production.
I still question.
Okay. One thing to keep in mind with Titmouse, they are technically the people who are drawing the show. However, you need to give them good storyboards to work with so that the animation comes through well. Some things that people don't always know.
Studio Mir was the one who did Korra, right?
Yeah, Studio Mir.
Anyway, but anyway, though, so I was right, though, that they did technically have a different team animating these cutscenes. So to give them credit, they still do look relatively faithful to the show.
That being said, from what I can see here,
quality, but I feel like it's fine.
That being said, from what I can see here, even though the animation studio is different, the art director and the animation director of the show is still involved. So basically, the cutscenes were still helmed by the actual people from the show. It's just that the animators are different.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't care for how the barrier animation comes down. It's something that needs to be taken down by waterbending. Would it really have cost too much money to have her moving the water that's clearly in there to part the ways, essentially? Instead, nope, just generic shattering animation.
And yeah,
it doesn't even look like ice, it's just solid blue.
And yeah, because unlocking new moves involves doing specific tasks or buying stuff on Iroh, like as a result, you don't at the beginning of the game you don't have a very much in terms of moves and combos that you can do. As a result, yeah, the combat gets old very quick. Like there's not that much you can do combat. Yeah, combat basically boils down to this: use combos, and if you're having trouble, use the counter move to instantly dispatch the enemies. In fact, the counter move is practically required for most of the bosses in this game. So yeah,
it makes the game feel so pedestrian.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for a licensed game, this is still technically serviceable. I mean, like by the usual standards of licensed games, this is definitely not bad. This is fine.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, considering the pedigree of the people involved, we really expected something better.
Like, honestly, I'll say this, I had more fun with Avatar Burning Earth than I did with this game.
I actually never played any of those games, so I won't be able to.
That's a game based off of...
What about the game based on the 2010 movie?
That's the... No, let Jova speak, I was going to mention that anyway later.
Anyway, what I'm referring to as Avatar Burning Earth, that's a game based off of Avatar Book 2, Earth. I also do like Burning Inferno, which is the game based off of Book 3.
Maybe I'll record those at one point, we'll see.
But yeah, Pedro, what about the game based on the movie?
Again, maybe I'll record that. Yes, maybe for the Wii. Maybe
it was a Wii exclusive, Dej, and guess what? The soundtrack is made by Mick Gordon.
I mean, he also did Nicktoons Unite, so I'm not surprised. I mean,
yeah.
Not Nicktoons Unite, Nicktoons Attack.
Okay, so this boss battle involves your battle against a firebender, a waterbender, and an earthbender.
Basically, the triple triad, guys, from the start in Book 1.
Yeah.
An earthbender, a firebender, and a waterbender walk into a bar.
And yeah, notice how even the game is telling me. Oh yeah, and this is another thing. When you parry the bosses, you have to do a little mini QTE. Which, to be fair, it's an easy QTE, so I'm not complaining. That being said, yeah, like I said, yeah. Basically, when you get to a boss battle, this is basically how boss battles go. Use the counter move. It's the most effective way of doing it. In fact, sometimes you won't even be able to damage enemies without first parrying them. So basically, the game basically forces you into just, you know, waiting for the parry, basically.
I feel like this is an issue a lot of games, even good ones, can sometimes run into, where, oh, they want you to use the counter move to show off how cool the gameplay is. The problem is when they center too much around it to the point where you pretty much can do almost nothing without that move.
Well, okay, to bring it up once again, I think Metal Gear Rising perfected that. Exactly what you just said.
Yes. Cowards.
Or like cows.
Now, what the heck?
That was your best one-liner, Korra.
Again, Tail.
What the heck was?
Again, Tail. Sorry, go on.
Now, what the heck the Triple Triad members were doing with them? Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, the Triple Triad members should hate the non-benders.
Here was the
how they non-bended their boss in Book 1, so...
Well, that works, okay. That works for both what you're saying and what Tail was saying. Here's the basic process of the writing for this game. Duh! There you go, there's your...
I mean, hey, they were in the show, so let's make them boss fights.
I know what that is.
You know...
Again...
Hold on, go on, Shirai.
Like, cutscenes are kind of a transition thing anyway, between one gameplay thing and another, but they feel here like just straight up transitions, like they needed something to lead in. We didn't get an actual scene, it's just a bit more blatant here. It feels a bit empty.
The plot is a complete afterthought, Shirai. A complete afterthought.
I will say, maybe I'm
not entirely sure what the plot is overall, to be clear.
Here's the plot, Shirai. We lost our bending. We have to get it back so we can defeat the evil old man that took our bending.
Yeah,
that's it.
We understand what the evil old man wants.
And apparently he's...
Okay, so we got the bones, but not the meat. secret.
And apparently he's militarized the non-benders again or something. And I swear, I really don't recall a scene explaining why the Triple Triad members are working with them. Unless they're like, hey, look, we're only going after the Avatar this time. No other benders, so if you work with us, we can beat her up or something.
Hooray.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, don't get me wrong, it's nice to see these guys from the show, but if there's no good context for them being here from the show, then we run into a bit of an issue, don't we?
Yeah, it's like, oh, these people are in the show, let's just pick them up and plop them somewhere.
Whether or not it makes sense.
Let's go and get them.
Basically.
How well did this game do? Because I knew that it existed.
Reception-wise or sales-wise?
Entirely.
Bit of A, bit of B, I guess.
Okay, let's see. Reception-wise, okay. Well, let me get the actual numbers up.
Because I know, in terms of revealing sales numbers, video game companies are a little stingy.
Well,
it really depends on each product share, because sometimes 1 million or 2 million will be considered an actual success, depending on what the game is. Other times instead disappointment.
So on PC it got 64% on Metacritic.
Nice.
On PS4 it got 54% on Metacritic, and on Xbox One it got 49%. Let me put it like this: mixed or average reviews at best across the board, and they weren't all particularly nice here. Again, I feel like maybe if this were just a run-of-the-mill tying game, reception may have been a bit better. But no, this was Platinum Games, and it don't matter if it's your A, your B, or your C team. You are still out there representing one of the big names of the industry here, so you better bring your A game for the respective.
Also, can I ask? Did Platinum somehow did CyberConnect 2 somehow get lessons from this game? Because what's up with the sun flare on the top? Okay, basically to contextualize what I'm talking about. For as much as I love Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, there is one issue that fortunately they corrected recently with the new next-gen versions on PS5 and Xbox Series X, and you can also mod it out in the PC version, where there's a constant sun flare in the top part of the screen. Did you notice like that when you look at the top part of the screen, there's like this weird sun flare effect, Especially in the top left corner, you can see it very well, right? And I don't know what is that for. Like, it's so distracting and... Go on.
I can explain for why that is in DBZ Kakarot.
Go on.
TNU solar flare.
Ha.
Brilliant.
Well,
and it broke the game.
Fortunately, fortunately, the PS5 and Xbox Series versions of the game corrected that, and the PC version you can easily mod it out. So it's not too big of a deal. This game, on the other hand, this game also does the whole sun flare thing, and I don't understand why there's this big sun flare on the top of the screen. It's distracting, and it doesn't add anything to the presentation. Go on.
Anyway, in regards to sales, well, okay. While we don't have entire numbers across all platforms, we do know that it did not really do well sales-wise. I have the numbers for the Steam stats here. Apparently there was 211k units sold, which...
I mean, for a game like this, it's probably fine, but yeah...
Keep in mind, expectations for it were probably higher because this was a tie into Legend of Korra. Regardless of the reception that the show was getting, and around the time when this came out, the show's reception had gotten better, people were definitely, expecting better. As for the 3DS game, shoot, I think the 3DS game may have actually done better than
the 3DS game. Okay, from what I do know, the 3DS game follows the same plot, but it presents itself instead as a Fire Emblem clone, as in a tactical RPG.
Did you notice?
Which does mean...
Did you notice how they reused the exact same motorcycle animation with those two guys right just now from the previous level?
The Akira, slide. Everyone has memed it at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I recall correctly, the 3DS game has the advantage of you will be able to play not just as Korra, but also her friends.
Let me explain something here. One move that I also unlocked right now is the dodge attack. Basically, whenever you're dodging an attack, like there's a dodge move, right? And it's a waterbending dodge. Thing is, when you successfully dodge an attack, Korra will also automatically throw some water at the enemy that you thought you attacked for. So basically, a genuine strategy for beating enemies is just dodge all the time, and the automatic counterattack will do the killing for you. So there you go, I guess. Level up. Oh yeah, I forgot to explain this. Yeah, your bending has levels. Basically, you get basic XP, and eventually you level up all the bending. And the more you level up, the more moves you get. And one of those, see, I don't even have to attack to get near them. I can just stay here and dodge constantly. And there you go. Eventually, I'll beat them. See, so dodge away. See, go ahead.
Where were we? All right, the sales stuff. Now again, we don't know for certain, but I would not be surprised if it turned out that the 3DS game sold better. I mean, okay, as we've mentioned, the 3DS game is kind of a Fire Emblem clone.
I can tell you, Joe, in terms of presentation, it's kind of worse. All the PNGs have a lot of artifacts attached to them, and the sound design blows my earphones whenever I try to emulate or listen to it. So whenever I've actually managed to record the game, expect me to replace a lot of the soundtrack.
Oh, by the way,
in that case, in regards to the 3DS game doing better, I'm going to attribute that to it being on the 3DS, which was selling gangbusters at that time, and 2, it might have had a bit more of a welcome gameplay for people, I'm guessing, in that regard, since, well, it's Fire Emblem.
Oh, what is it?
Although, can you imagine?
Oh no, guys! It's the same enemies I have already killed multiple of. Whatever shall I do?
It's like the HD version of Thor: God of Thunder.
You know, might as well address this. The enemy variety sucks in this game.
It does.
Yeah, because it's a budget.
I mean, that wouldn't even necessarily be a problem. I can get over lack of enemy variety if the game compensates with other aspects and distracts me from that. Because look at for example Ni no Kuni 2. Ni no Kuni 2, in comparison to the first game, has more uninspired enemy designs, but the game more than compensates with the other aspects that matter the most. So whatever, fine. Same thing. I don't know, too. Compared to the familiars in the first game, I will argue it's a downgrade.
Sure, but that's because the familiar were the entire point. It's like comparing a Pokemon game to, say, a Zelda one, and say that, the variety is different. Like,
to be fair, Ni no Kuni 2 is a sequel to the first, so a comparison to it is warranted in that regard. Regardless of how the styles may be different, it may also come down to whether or not people preferred it this way or that way.
Sure. Like, for example, there's a guy on SSMB that doesn't like Pokemon mechanics in JRPGs unless it's Pokemon, so I can understand that some people would even... But whatever, the point is... The point is... Oh, and by the way, speaking of representing the source material, actually, since we were just now tackling... well, actually, hold on, I'll wait till everybody's ears before I mention that, because it's quite... For now, we're finding more... Yeah, you're starting to see what I mean. The game doesn't really have much to it. You're just going from section to section, beating the exact same enemies over and over and over and over. And since there's no plot to keep you engaged, yeah, this game really outstays its welcome, even if it's short.
Like, if you're gonna have this much, at least have the decency to give us more of the animated cutscenes to give us something of a flash story, at least.
Yeah.
Pretty much, here's how you'll be doing a lot of these sections here. Dodge, shoot water. Dodge, shoot water. Lather, rinse. Literally.
I mean, like I demonstrated, it's the best way of defeating the enemies, so why not, right? Go on, too.
Well, you're also playing on casual mode, so I do wonder, if it's a viable strategy for the normal mode, it might be slightly different.
I guess. Fair.
I would argue, though, that, that shouldn't be a case in any mode to get that boring.
Yeah, I will. Jova does bring up a point. There are plenty of even other Platinum games that, even on the easiest setting, they're still better mechanically than this.
I guess with this they wanted to appease more the journalists.
Yeah.
Possibly. Which again is weird because that did not fit Platinum's MO at the time. Again, I get it, newer team and whatnot, but again, let's look at this from the perspective of Well, pretty much almost everyone who at the time didn't know that this was going to be one of their lesser teams. People were rightfully disappointed with this game.
I feel like the moment they said digital only, that's when we should have kept our expectations in check.
I mean, okay, to be fair, as much as even I was not really a fan of terms like digital only, because holy cow, that was in the wake of Xbox One's crap show with trying to make stuff digital only. Digital only did not have to mean that a game was going to suck.
I actually have an example. To be fair, we had 2 examples in 2013, both DuckTales Remastered. I know it eventually got a physical release, but it was originally just digital only. Both DuckTales Remastered and Castle of Illusion HD, those were digital. In fact, Castle of Illusion HD, it's still a digital only release, and those games are good.
So, sure, we'll play that one day.
If I recall correctly, Child of Light was also digital only.
No, that one got physical.
Teo, allow me to correct you there, Teo. That's the thing. I got said, quote-unquote, physical release. It's not actually a physical release. It's a box with a code in it.
I don't remember if Strider 2014 got a physical release or not.
No, it did not.
Well, I can tell you that game is also great.
Sure.
Wait, aren't we a bit too early for this enemy?
No. Actually, Teo, these enemies showed up as early as Book 1.
I forgot, sorry.
They were part of Hiroshi Sato creating those.
Remember, God, what's her name? Jova, the girl that's
Asami.
That's it. Can you blame me?
Thanks, Jinora.
To stay rooted. If you stand your ground, it might help you to earthbend again.
That's not a really valuable strategy considering these enemy attacks a lot and moves.
Yeah, there you go. You have to perform counterattacks. If you perform counterattacks, basically to be fair, this much makes a lot more sense than the whole spirit water thing from before. Remember, Toph taught us in the original series that earthbending is all about standing your ground, being as tough as a rock. So to be fair, yeah, gameplay-wise, it makes sense that this is how you recover your earthbending. That's fine.
This is also weird because usually the evo for Platinum Games title at this point was for you to actually properly countering attack. The enemy's eyes will glow in an anime effect to symbolize that. It's been a stable ever since Rising, and I don't understand why this game doesn't have that.
Again, for as flawed as this game is, I can tell that the people who made it genuinely tried to make something good. So
There are definitely glimpses of the traditional Platinum Game seal quality here. It's just that they do.
Oh no, it's not.
Great.
It's not, Shiroi, but keep in mind, Shiroi, this is from the same studio that gave us Metal Gear Rising and Bayonetta. So, yeah, it kind of is disappointing by those standards. Go on, Joe.
Let me put it like this, Shiroi. It's in the same... Yeah.
Sorry, go, Mr. Leader.
Let me put it like this, Shiroi. It's in the same way that Cars 2 were released by a ton of other studios, would not have gotten the backlash it did as it was as released by Pixar.
Yeah.
Because, again, think about it like this. The worst movie that Pixar has released is considered probably on tier with some of the best movies that other studios have made. Now, obviously, this is not as bad as Cars 2, but it's a bit of a similar principle here. Platinum Games had a massive birth of quality with their games here.
Yeah, you're starting to see what I mean in how the bosses basically just boil down to countering attacks. That's all the bosses are. Go on.
Yeah. Also, she totally did the Armstrong pound there, but...
Again, also the face she made during
she's constantly making this face.
No, I did it!
But yeah, no, I mean, again, that's really just the main issue with this and other games of Platinum's slump era here. They weren't necessarily bad. Some maybe, yeah, but no, this is not really bad, but it's just so mediocre. And if I'm to be honest... may have been pushing it also with the price that they sold it at as well.
This would be like...
The only PowerPoint of reference... Sorry, go on, Pedro.
Like, Shiroi, let me put it this way, Shiroi. Like, imagine if Toby made a new RPG, and that one, unlike Deltarune and Undertale, is just fine instead of amazing. Like, I'm sure you, despite still thinking it's fine, you probably would still be disappointed because you expect better from Toby, right?
I mean, it depends. but
yeah, if you want to, for an example that instead fits me, Pedro, again, your reasoning would apply to the Voice of Cards trilogy that Yokotaro has been making, but I actually really like those, despite being just okay.
Okay,
sure, I guess. I was just trying to find
I mean, I guess Splatoon 3 would work because I love that game so much, but I also want to shake some heads.
I mean, Shirai, let's put it like this: Splatoon 2 before the Octopath expansion was bad.
Oh, by the way,
I would argue Splatoon 2 even before the Octo expansion was good. No, its issue was that it was similar in that regard.
Oh, here you go. This is that. Oh God, enemies! What shall I do, guys? Oh, there you go.
Water at them and dodge.
No, that's it.
Water at them and dodge.
No. Remember, I automatically counterattack with water. Okay, so basically, you're gonna see a lot of this playthrough of me changing back to the waterbending style, so I can just use that move because that move is so broken. But anyway, I want to actually address. Okay, another thing that this game represents the series well. The entire soundtrack of the game is entirely copy-pasted from the show. So it's not new music, but at least it's music from the show that is appropriate. So cool.
Fair enough.
That being said, there is one major problem there is the one major thing when it comes to representing the source material that this game does fail. So let me get this straight. We're in a level where we're in a market and we're taking down fruit stands of various fruits. And you don't have us destroy the cabbage stand.
Yeah.
What? Talk about a missed opportunity. How cool would it have been to have some kind of sequence where
one who destroys the cabbage.
Yeah, where you are the one that destroys the cabbage stands. That would be hilarious, and you don't do it. Come on.
So, to be fair, by the time of this game, the cabbage merchant is dead, and it's his descendant who has a cabbage corp, which is,
even still.
Hold on, let me finish. That being said, they still could have easily have had us smash a cabbage cart and give us an achievement saying my cabbages at a very bare minimum.
Yeah, and like you said, Jova, there's his son or descendant or whatever it is. So you could still technically have that Easter egg in there. It's just because you're in a fruit market with fruit stands and there's no cabbage.
Well,
come on!
I played the Avatar games based on the first major series. Do you have something similar to that in those?
If I recall correctly, you can run into the cabbage merchant in Burning Earth. Again, don't quote me on that. It has been way long since I played those games, so maybe when we eventually
made?
GameCube, PS2, and Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah, Wii, GameCube, PS2, and Xbox.
At that time, the old THQ was having
I actually think,
license.
If I remember correctly, I think a couple of those actually even got PC versions, so I'll take a look at those later.
Possibly. But no, okay, part of the issue with this game being sold at the price it was, remember, it was digital only. Want to know what was a problem with digital only games back in the day? They were infamous for being perfect ways for companies to be able to sell games without ever having to reduce the price on them, as opposed to physical media, which could see a discount just so much as being sold at a GameStop or even used at a Walmart, essentially. No, with digital games, companies could always control prices to have them pretty much stay at their top bits here and there.
So you say that, but on digital stores, sales happen very frequently, except on Nintendo for some reason.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Nowadays they definitely happen more frequently. And, oh my god!
What is this blue leprechaun doing?
They're literally recolors of the Triple Triad members.
Okay. This boss is bullshit. This boss is bullshit because these guys deal a lot of damage, and I do mean a lot of damage. So basically, this is the part where the game basically forces you to get perfect in the parrying time, the timing your parries. Otherwise, you're pretty much gonna get your ass handed to you.
I didn't have too much trouble with this, but I was just dumbfounded. Really? You're resorting to essentially recolors of the Triple Triad members. We are not going to notice that obvious crap.
Let me put it this way too. It's true that I'm playing on casual difficulty, but my first time playing this boss, I actually did die. So even the casual mode clearly is not as casual as one would think, apparently.
still has a bit of that platinum in it in that regard. But yeah, no, again, in regards to whole digital stuff here, no, that's the thing too. Nowadays, they definitely do discounts more, but no, back then, they were infamous for that kind of crap, and that was one of the reasons why people were absolutely not for an all-digital age of era. Heck, even with them now discounting more, we still aren't for obvious reasons.
I love how Jinora literally has zero animation in this game. Like,
She
she's...
doesn't even move her mouth.
Something tells me we're not gonna see J.K. Simmons' character.
Sorry, Teo.
Well, I guess he was too expensive.
Also, as you can probably already guess, Jinora is only here for the purposes of tutorial.
Which is weird. Oh, okay, granted, I get it. The thing is that, unlike Tenzin, Jinora was...
I'm sorry, Teo, what?
What's with this music? Are we in somebody Amigo for some reason?
Oh, no, this is music from the show, Teo. This is music from the show.
I don't remember this happening.
If I recall correctly, this is music used when Korra gets chased by the police when she first shows up in Republic City.
Which, to be fair, yeah, that does... I can see the logic with that, so...
Yeah, the idea with the Korra series is that it takes place during, I think, their equivalent of, like, the 1920s, hence all the jazz and stuff, and the steampunk and whatnot. So that's all fine.
Pedro, if you could do me a favor, because I know there's going to be another section of this, right?
Yes.
Is it possible that you can replace it with Crash Bandicoot music?
Too late for that, Dej.
Sorry, too late for that, Dej.
Kind of already been recorded and whatnot.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'd
say give it to me and I'll do a last minute edit.
Oh!
Yeah, that's your answer.
Okay, again, I'll give them credit. Those animations are pretty funny and well crafted.
Okay, let me explain the bending. The bending in these sections basically involves destroying things. That being said, it only works for vehicles and boxes. So fortunately, now you can break some stuff. Not much, though. Again, Naga is strong as fuck.
Drums, apparently.
Again, Naga is strong as fuck. She should be able to break through all of this crap. But whatever.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, but yeah, I will give him credit. I do like the creative means that you can save your bacon with bending.
Yeah.
It shows a nice battle coherence, like...
Let me explain how it works. The water shield that I'm using right now protects you from obstacles. The earth bending allows you to save. Let's say you're about to fall in one of those holes. You can use earth bending to raise a pillar to save yourself. That's it. Go on.
Again, I think part of the frustrating thing about this game is that, again, we do get glimpses at a really good game. The problem is just that they don't cut the mustard for it in the end.
Yeah, if the game had more time and a budget, I'm sure this would have been a 7 out of 10.
Also, are we speeding up, actually?
Yes, Teo?
Are we speeding up?
Yes. Darn it, we're not gonna make it. Let's speed up, Naga.
Please no.
Okay, and I get it. They probably wanted to have this game out before the series ended the same year, but I don't know, like... It kind of does, doesn't it? But no, I feel like an issue is this lack of thing, and yeah,
to the next fight. Okay.
Noticing a problem here: recurring boss fights. Again, let me remind you, they literally are recoloring the same Triple Threat Triad members that we have seen from the show. So if you're a fan of the show, it's even more obvious. And again, reskin of the mech boss fights.
Basically.
Go on.
It's
a shame. It's a shame. Okay, I guess it's not a shame, but I don't know. In a way, I would have got some sort of ironic joy in a potential mini game where Korra flips tables over.
Yeah. Anyway, allow me to answer again to situate the time tale. Basically, season 2 of Korra Spirits first started in September 2015 and aired throughout the entirety of September all the way to November of that same year. The third season change premiered on June 27, 2014, which was and the game released in October 2014. So, as you can probably do the math, the game was produced around the time that Season 2 was airing, so obviously this is after Season 2 because...
I'm sorry. I love how he's all scared in that, while Korra, in her idle animation, just stretches.
Guess I'm headed to the South Pole to get some answers.
Let's hope that guy could swim.
So, Korra just killed somebody.
No, he'll be fine.
I mean, to be fair, he was trying to kill her.
Also, that's Varric's yacht in the dock for some reason.
Cameo.
Easter egg?
I'm gonna guess.
But
yeah, no.
Papa. That's cute.
But yeah, no, I love how Korra does her idle animations while talking to people, which really messes with the tones of some of these scenes. Like, the guy is fearful for his life, and Korra's just stretching like she's doing yoga poses.
Also, you weren't kidding. Like, the Mako and Bowling just disappeared from the game after the initial probe ending game.
Yeah, they do. Mako and Bolin might as well not even be in this game. I guess this Drebs, we've talked about easy paychecks. Here's an easy paycheck. The Mako and Bolin have like one line each in this game. Easiest paycheck ever.
Pedro, surely they would show up during the pro-bending game.
Oh, they do. It's just that they don't actually are voiced, so whatever, doesn't matter.
Wow. Yeah, again, that's the thing. Like, okay, at first glance, this game actually does seem pretty good. Like, it's in league with the series. But the more you go in, the more you can just smell the budget cuts.
It's just even though it's short, it's only 90 minutes long, maybe 2 hours at best. It still manages to overstay its welcome because the gameplay just doesn't have much meat to its bones. And the plot is clearly just a very by-the-numbers excuse for the levels with no attempt to give this any kind of substance. So there's very little in here.
Let me compare this to another game made by this team, Transformers Devastation. Now, the big critique with that game is that it's also criminally short. However, conversely, instead of just one player character, you have like five player characters in that game. Way more voice acting and story going on. And it's replayable.
Yeah.
Well, this is technically replayable as well, but no, let's be honest. You're going to have more fun replaying Devastation than this.
It's not playable now until you want to buy it in time.
Yeah.
Unless you go through the preservation methods that a lot of companies like to demonize.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
It depends on the it really depends on the context. Like, if you're doing something like what that idiot at Kotaku suggested for Metroid Dread, then
yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah. That's bad. And you're giving emulation a bad name if you do that.
Let me put it. No, here's the thing. I'm not emulating the game. I'm just playing the PC version. See, the thing is, here's the thing, Dwebs. Here's my point on that. Like, consider with games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan, which was the Platinum game, TMNT game. That game was also delisted. When it comes to me pirating games like the Amazing Spider-Man games and these games and shit like that, I don't consider it piracy because there's literally no way for me to legally buy these games if I could. There's literally no. So I don't consider this piracy. It's not piracy if the thing is not for sale. How can I pirate it?
Pretty much.
Like it's I don't consider this piracy. I'm sorry. Like, if you're not selling the game, how is exactly how am I supposed to actually buy? Maybe if you were actually selling it, maybe I could buy it off of you. Ever thought of that, Activision? Go on.
Actually,
well, okay, they probably can't legally do it because of the license.
Maybe THQ Nordic could do something like that. They've been doing fine with SpongeBob.
I guess.
I sure hope that new SpongeBob game was good.
Alright, everybody, tune in next time where we learn firebending.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.